You please to give great order to our last couple of speakers if you can. They're from, I feel terrible that they've been left to the end, but they're from the Yes2 movement, who have actually got a fantastic Facebook campaign with 50,000 members on there, keeping the flame alive. John McHarg and Tony McCandless are going to do it as a double act, maybe a soft shoe shuffle. Who knows what's going on? So please give them a warm welcome. Thank you.
Well, I'm new, but I'm certainly not talent, that's for sure. I'm going to start off with an invitation and a plug. The invitation is, 2 weeks ago we took on board very proudly Yes2 Labour for Independence. We were delighted to have them on board. Last week we took on board English Scots for Scottish independence. Now we have a post reach of 3 million per week, and we'd like to invite pensioners for independence to come on board and take advantage of that as soon as they're ready, guys. Now, Yes2 was started on the 19th of September 2014. We remember that date, surely. And the reason that was started was because I have my son, but we've got multiple reasons for Yes2. But I don't want to talk about who we are. I want to talk about why we are. I'm going to be brief because I want Tony to come in really soon. Here's the most haunting reason that I have for continuing Yes2. We received a message. And it went like this. Hi, my wife is a teacher. Today she caught a child in the canteen eating from sachets of sauce. Right? She approached the kid and says, why? And the kid said he hadn't eaten in 2 days. You can tell how upset this is to me. The kid hadn't eaten in 2 days. They contacted the mother. The mother said she'd been sanctioned. She didn't have the bus fare to walk the 10 or to get the 10 miles to get to the job centre. So she'd been sanctioned. She'd spent all her money that week, and they had nothing to eat for two weeks. Now, 3.5 million kids are deemed in poverty. And that's just a statistic. But that child eating food from a sachet of sauce is the reality of Tory Britain today. Now, we have to stop that. And with independence, we can stop that. Now, further, Yes2 are Yes2 because of some of the following groups, and I'm going to read from a list here. The Freedom Convoy, Yes Rutherglen, Yes Kelty, Carroll, Yes East Kilbride, Yes Shotts and Airdrie, Independence Live, the National Yes Registry. Sometimes, in the past 2 years, this campaign has been very difficult, and sometimes me and Tony not just dance, but fight like cat and dog, okay? But yous guys, from my heart, are the true inspiration. Keep us going. Honestly, Carol, you are a true inspiration. A woman, a strong woman who runs that group, and my heart goes out to you. Thank you, Carol. Now, I'm going to be very brief here, guys, and I'm going to end. I'm going to give the plug now. Now, Mike Fennan has a great grassroots idea for a Scottish currency, the Scottish Hand. It's a brilliant idea. He's got our desk. Go and talk to him about it, because it's a really good idea, and we'd like you to take it into consideration. So I'm going to finish with this, guys. My wee boy's 3 years old. When he comes home, when he's 14 or 15 years old, from Scottish history class at school, and says this to me, Dad, we were learning about Scottish history and the independence campaign today. Did you have anything to do with it? And I'll simply respond, yes.
And I have the pleasure of working with that man every week. It's great. I just want to touch on a couple of things. In the run-up to 2014, I worked with a number of groups. Women for Indie were absolutely and utterly amazing. I worked with Radical Independence, and there's a little story from there. I was at a job centre in Perth trying to sign people up who generally can't get representation. And the job centre staff were telling these people because they didn't have a permanent or fixed address, they couldn't be represented. And we were trying to catch these folk. And one afternoon, a lady came up, and I found out later she had drugs and alcohol problems. And she said to me, "Can I have one of those forms, please?" So I gave her the form. And someone next to me said, we'll not see her again, but it's nice she wanted to take it. I got to the job centre again the next day to sign more people up, and she was waiting for me. Her form was filled in, and she wanted to vote. She just wanted to be heard. So I've got a lot of stuff down here, but I know we're running short on time. When we all woke up on the 19th, there was a mixed kind of feeling. A lot of yes people, we felt deflated, we felt as if we'd been lied to, and I felt empty. The irony being that I wasn't in the country, I was actually in Boston. And for anyone that's been to Boston, you'll know the biggest thing it has is called the Independence Trail. And I walked it on the 19th of September, and I will walk that damn trail here every day until we get independence in Scotland. We should also, though, remember today we've spoken about a lot of yes people, but there were 2 million people in this country that voted no. And we can have our feelings about them, but they are our citizens, and some of them were, friends. They may even have been in your family. They're not in the room today. Well, Brian might be, but hey, who knows? But we have got to stop talking to ourselves and really try and get these folk engaged. We saw the scenes on the 19th of September in George Square. They were not the silent vote that took the no vote over. Most of the no voters were dignified. They were relieved because they had a degree of fear. We've got to listen to them and get them over. We've got to work really hard. We were naive. We loved our campaign. You never saw an unhappy yes stand through Scotland. It was a street party like you'd never dreamt of, okay? And there's a lovely book, if you haven't picked it up, Summer of Independence. And you read that, and people's hearts were in this. But that didn't take us across the line, okay? We need to be fact-based. You've heard a lot today. And we've got to know what we do. What is the response? What are the answers? And we need to be bolder this time round. Let's stop trying to play with the establishment down south, because it doesn't give a damn, okay? It just wants what it can get out of Scotland. We need to start getting the facts out there, set our vision, make it realistic, and be really honest. Which kind of takes me to other stuff that's happened since. We've all been a bit guilty today of thinking about things that have happened recently in 2016, because, by God, it was some year. Okay, folk in the UK voted to take us out of Europe. Donald Trump became president. These fill our minds. Cast your mind back to a picture that you saw. A young lad called Alan Kurdi. His body washed up on a beach. It horrified the world, but it's last year's news of the year before. We've seen pictures of Aleppo destroyed by a UK government and an aggressive fight that we just never needed to be in. For those of you that go to the cinema, you've seen I, Daniel Blake. That wasn't really a fiction. It was a documentary on the stuff that John has talked about. So let's not just think about Trump and think about Brexit, but all of those images that we've seen of inhumanity driven by right-wing, neoliberal, Tory-based and Republican policy. We have a duty to ourselves to actually talk to our conscience and say, we stood up against it. We don't want that to happen, and we will fight to persuade our fellow citizens that our small country does not need to go down that route, and we can stand up and be proud about never again letting a young boy's body wash up on a beach. And to finish off about now, what do we do now? I had the pleasure of being over in Iceland. Hands up, who's ever been to Iceland? Okay, so a number of people in the room. I don't know if your heads were as pickled as mine was, okay? Here's this country. It's got its own currency. It's got great renewable energy. It's got 332,000 people. How the hell did they do that? Surely they're too wee too small and too stupid. Maybe not. They have 38 bankers in jail. Not a bad start. And the last point I'll make. I'm a lad. I was brought up. I went to Curtin High in Dundee. I've lived in Whitfield, in Dundee, in St Mary's, in Craigie. So for all of those schemes, for Nidri, for Mary Hill, for Wester Hales, we need to get these messages, but we need not to be middle-class, smart-thinking people. We need to work out what is it that really matters to these folk. Feeding their kids, having a house, having warmth, having self-respect, and we need to get our messages together and get out there and talk and listen. And as Kat said, it's about activating the community. It's not about mobilising when we want to vote. So from today, the thing I want to see, and the thing that we will, from Yes2, give and as long as we can, is we leave here today and we prepare for the campaign that the SNP are asking us to run. Okay? Let's not expect the party to do it. Let's get out there, let's form the campaign, listen to all the smart thinkers, but take it to every community centre, every church, every village hall. Let's get the people of Scotland showing Nicola and showing Theresa May there is demand for independence in Scotland, and we are not shutting up, we've not gone away, and we are damn well going to win independence for this country. Thank you.